how so say you were to give anyone starting like a business, a pest control, any advice to like growing or trying or put yourself out there, what would you say to them? What would be a good
Don't
idea?
don't sell your soul. What we offer is a specialized service. If you don't have if you can't believe in yourself that what you're going to do is going to make a difference, then now's the client going to believe in that. You'd be stunned how many projects we walk away from, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, people are paying for my expertise and know-how, not my time. It's amazing how many people ask, how much would you charge for this? It's not about that. It's about what that value is worth. And
Okay.
I think people out there need to really research into is what is value and what is value worth to someone. Value is more than money. It's not what you're willing to pay. It's what is it valued to you at.
Okay.
So or if anyone's a bit sort of twisted by that, I think at the end, if you can't convince your client that what you're offering is going to be the best value for them, then that's where your struggles are going to start. If you're selling value without selling value, then you're going to be on your merry way.
That's great advice because I've obviously trying to expand more to get more commercial, and I've got to offer the value and do it the proper way because I
And it
it's an
takes
area
time.
it's an area I've got to learn. To be honest, it really is.
And I think you just need to keep your ears and your eyes open. I mean, I've always been known as being quite vocal, and that's why I'm one of the admin and moderators on the British Pest Control group as well. But at the same time, I'm never afraid to say, "Hey guys, like, can I have some advice on this?" And I think don't be frightened to ask questions, because it's better to ask 10 questions than to not ask and get something badly wrong, because you can fall quicker than you build in this industry and get a really bad name for yourself. So, make friends, get to know who your local. I'm surrounded by competitors, but most of them I get on with. We don't interfere with each other. We all know what our um we all know what our selling points are, and I don't slag off my local competition, with the exception of maybe a couple. But that's due to the fact that they just don't like what we do, because we're doing all right. But on the whole, I've got a lot of the respect from our competitors, and we help a lot of them out where we can as well. So I think it's, don't make yourself an enemy by those around you, because at the end of the day, it's better to be liked than loathed.
Exactly that. I mean, I know pretty much all of the pest controllers in my area, and we getting all right. If we see each other out on the road, we
Yeah, you wave,
pull
little
over.
bib.
Well, sometimes pull over and have a chat. Sometimes
Yeah,
we do.
exactly. And
So
I
yeah,
think that's how it should be. There's enough work out there for everyone. And I think, like I said, I think it's creating an image of yourself for yourself.
oh, I've definitely done that in recent times,
Yeah, and that's
or
what's
tried to.
important.
I
And that's
have.
what's important. So yeah, that's the only advice I can give really, is just, you got to have faith in what you're doing, and you got to believe in what you're doing, because at the end of the day, if you're going in really cheap, that's not believing in yourself. That's you're disbelieving in yourself. You've got to be able to. I've had people that fall over with some of the prices that we charge our clients, but at the end of the day, we get the results. And a lot of
Exactly.
the time, if it's getting the results, then it's money well spent for our clients.
Oh, it definitely is. But sadly, a lot of what gets me is when like I've done work really. They show you around. They're fine. And a couple of businesses I've tried to get, obviously, I'm not saying a name, but they have a national. And I thought we offered more value in that one and then they didn't. What gets me is they never actually give you feedback or anything. You get nothing unless you get it. It bugs
Yeah.
me, but it's never going to change, is it? It's
Well,
not.
I mean, I'm not gonna preach to you. I mean, you're doing all right. You're building, so I'm not preaching to you
No.
how to do it. But I think that's where the real the selling techniques really evolves around
Yeah.
what their needs are. Really understanding the client needs, because I've been around people where they go on site. Yeah, we can do these metal boxes. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can do. Whereas it's a case of, what are your concerns? What is it you're looking for? What do you need? Do you want someone that's purely dedicated to your site, or do you want it too free? I've won massive contracts because the one problem that facilities manager's got is he's fed up of someone different every time turning up at his site, and he's getting pulled away. So I've won a contract before purely on the basis of saying, so if I gave you one dedicated technician and with one in reserve that knew your site inside out, he said, I'd give you the contract.
Tell you
So
what,
again,
that is
that's going back.
eye-opening.
That's going back to rather than turning up on the site and doing anything. What's your biggest problem? What are you looking for? What do you need from a service provider? And that client was a huge customer. What is now a huge customer because he couldn't believe that my opening question was, "What are you looking for? What do you want? What do you want?" And he actually
Yeah.
said, he said, I want someone that can turn up every month, that knows where the site is, that knows where the boxes are. I said, what if I gave you two people? I'll give you one dedicated tech and I'll bring in another one in reserve on the same day that we set up. So God forbid anything happens, they'll know the site.
That's great. I'll be honest, that's great advice for myself. I'm going to try that next time.
So again, Sean,
I'll try that. I will.
it's just trying to sound like you say, if you don't get feedback at times, I'm not saying you on a personal level, but sometimes it might be because we've not asked the right questions. It might be that we've gone in and trying to do X, Y, and Z, whereas what they've wanted us to establish is what their needs actually are. We might want someone that's able to come at weekends. We might want someone that comes with a need. If we ain't asking those questions specifically, what are you looking for? What is gonna make me a maximum appeal to you?
Okay.
It gives food for thought,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it does. It definitely does. It is. It is food for thought.
And I've
Yeah,
been there.
I'll
I've
be
been,
writing these down. I will. Yeah,
I've
definitely.
been there where I've gone in and I've walked away and I'm thinking, ouch, like I've really overdone that because I'm telling them how good, not so much how good we are, but we can do this and we do that. But over recent years, my opening questions have been, look, what do you need? What is it that you're looking for? What's making you want to change? What aren't you getting what you needed, or what's being failed and what you agreed? And people will open up and tell you that because we're all quick to sort of want to open up and say what's making us unhappy at times, especially as a
Okay.
as a potential client. Well, they turn up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or well, I normally get John, but I've not been having John turn up. So by listening to those needs and homing in on those needs, if
Yeah.
you're able to give clear and precise answers to those problems straight away, you're at the forefront of their mindset.
Yeah. No. Thanks. That's really good. That's really good advice because we've got one site where they love us to turn up at like 9:30 because basically the guard people work on the gardens and that they have their meeting at 9:30 and
Yeah,
and they, and that's when they turn up. And he says because they're not bothered when in the month, but as long as I turn up in time for their meeting.
exactly.
And
And
that's what he said. That's what he said. He said, "I want someone to turn up at half nine, roughly when they're having the tea
yeah,
break, basically."
yeah.
And that's what I do every time with that one. I do.
So yeah,
So
I think really that's it. It's just understanding and doing a bit of research on your customers. Doing
okay,
you ain't got to go too crazy, but just going in and sort of saying, "Oh, I see, you've recently opened up a new branch in Bayswater. How's that going?" Just taking a general interest in that brand and knowing a little bit about them, doing a little bit of research. Sometimes it's really good. Even when I've done cold calling before, I've managed to
yeah,
bypass the receptionist because I'm saying, "Oh, is John in this morning? Oh, is he expecting you?" I said, "Well, he said for me to pop in." You blag it a little bit, but you're
okay.
bypassing someone who would otherwise show you the door because you've got a name.
Yeah, LinkedIn's quite powerful as well. You can get names off there usually.
Oh,
You say
I've, I've,
usually.
I've, I've. I mean, I don't use LinkedIn as nowhere near as much as I do my other socials. But I tell you this, I've managed to find out who's who through LinkedIn, and I've managed to break down doors that would otherwise have been firmly shut in my face because I'm going direct to these people.
That's
I
also
do
good advice.
feel
That is.
I do feel LinkedIn's become very Facebooky, unfortunately. But at the same time, it is there as a good tool to find out who's who within the organizations.
It is true because it has made LinkedIn bigger by being more Facebooky. Because I post my gym pictures and all sorts on there.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do,
no, I've
but
seen. I've seen.
But people like it. But you are right; it has changed. It's changed, but I think it's made LinkedIn bigger because it's not just a job site or where you get business. It's a little bit more than that. But
Well, and again,
I spend too much time on it. I really do. That's the problem. I do.
yeah, but again, I think you reap what you sow. If you put the hours in and you put the research in, I mean, I'm not afraid to say who, we've recently acquired a relationship with the Marriott Hotel Group.
Wow, it's big
And
time.
we're now doing two of their hotels. They're an international brand, so we by no means are we going to be managing hundreds of sites up and down the country, but we're now an established service provider where we're in two key parts of London, Canary Wharf and in Mayfair, where we're really starting to make an impact, and we're tidying those sites up, and we've got the GMs now that are they're gonna be networking for me.
That's really good because I see. I didn't think you'd be able. I thought brands like that would literally just say no. We'll have one company that covers the entire country. So that's a different perspective. That is.
Times are changing, Sean. I think a
Yeah.
lot of these companies now are starting to see, and it's the word that I used earlier. Where is the value lying? And a lot of our smaller companies, these bigger organizations are seeing what we're able to offer, and what's starting as a ripple is starting to cause a bit of a stir now, because I think people are seeing the value of local companies.
It's good to hear that is because obviously you know more than you have more relationships with these kind of bigger brands and they can see the value in more of a smaller family business that they can probably be relied on more than calling out another, say, big company who probably won't come
Yeah.
till next day.
Well, it's
Or
again, it's asking the questions. In certain instances, we've won a big restaurant trade because we was able to go in 2 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock the next morning, and we had that window where we had six of us proofing through the night. We had everything. We had all the chairs taken out. Was
yeah,
able to rip out all the expanding foam that the previous company put in, and we was using metal plates and mouse stops. So it's being able to adapt to the needs
yeah,
of that business. We're not disrupting that business. We're working
no,
through the night. We're charging accordingly, but it's been like a chameleon. You got to adapt and understand what those clients' problems are.
yeah. I tell you, it's been really eye opening talking to you because them questions I've never asked before
And I'm still
on a
learning.
site
Like I
survey.
say, I really hope that people aren't looking and thinking he's very cocksure of himself. It's not. I'm very confident in what I do, but like I say, you're forever learning, and no one is a bigger critic of myself than myself. I push myself all the time, and we are doing really well, but I still scrutinize my month. Every month, at the end, last day of the month, I get home and I'm like, right, what more could we have done? Why haven't we done this? Why haven't we got that? And it comes down to having that drive and hunger, and a mentor, like I said, that always checks in on me.
Yeah, it's really good to hear that even you have a mentor. So it is good to hear.